What's up guys, the Strong Boys 19 here. So here we are into the next album for the Iron Maiden discography. And with that being said, it's time to go into album number 5. Since that I reviewed their 4th record, Peace of Mind, I'm going to be talking about this album entitled Powerslave. Powerslave. What can be said about this record? A lot of things really, as the album as a whole is still highly recognizable and important in heavy metal history, and in my opinion this sums up the first gem on Iron Maiden's career, and for me the best album in this current lineup on Bruce Dickinson with Nico McBrain in the band and so forth. And this album came out in 1984, not too long ago in fact, that this album celebrated its 35th anniversary, so I guess it's the perfect time to talk about this album. This record continues the early inspiration from To Tame a Land on Peace of Mind that would become even bigger of the inspiration for Steve Harris's writing, that would be like a prominent thing for Powerslave as a whole for most of the tracks. And this is heavily involved as well with some more of the songwriting and lyrics from Bruce Dickinson, because since Number of the Beast, Dickinson wanted to become really interested in taking part on some pieces on the craftsmanship with Steve Harris's writing. I gotta tell you that with his contribution to work with Harris on the later material in the progression of the band, I think it worked massively. This album cover, I cherish it so much. It's one of my top 10 favourite metal album covers of all time, and I adore the detail to this. The colours are beautiful. It's just to me one of the greatest that have ever been made in the history of album covers for metal albums. So the songwriting showcases the band in a huge form, in the intensity and the bigger amount of writing that would display various topics and inspirations later on for many of Iron Maiden's albums to come. So the first 2 tracks, Aces High and 2 Minutes to Midnight, don't begin the album immediately onto the ancient mythology Egyptian thing at all, but most of this album presents that highly. First track is Aces High, and it's lyrically a war song based on the Battle of Britain from 1940, and it is a song that has a lot of power and full force. The music made it super with the incredible vocals. It's an outstanding song to start the whole record off, with the twin guitar introduction and the lightning speed of the song as it goes. 2 Minutes to Midnight, for me, my personal favourite song on the whole record. It's another song that is a protest on the nuclear war this time around, and with the similar references on the doomsday clock, predicting the global catastrophes of the Earth's destruction. This is an epic, full of energy, and its incredible riffing stands out as well, with the very addicting, intriguing chorus, and it's very catchy at the same time. Only instrumental for the first time in a few years on this track, Lost for Words, Big Aura. This is the first instrumental since the 2 from Killers of the Ides of March and Genghis Khan. It is a stunning piece of music that presents the sound of the band in a heavier mark of tighter, aggressive and phenomenal amount of talent on the individualism of the rest of the band. I absolutely love this instrumental. It's just as perfect as the other ones previously, and Genghis Khan being one of my top favourites. But this one pretty much beats it, but I love both of them. the Duelists. Love this song as well, and its instrumentation and the drumming patterns are very alike. It continues the beastly craftsmanship on the playing styles, and the chorus was very good, and I do love a lot of the vocals on Bruce's voice. This album has some of the most incredible performances on Bruce's voice, as the sound of his tone was rich and full. This is a record that a lot of the harmonies were multi-layered in the studio, and there's a lot of it on this album, and the chorus on this track works effectively, and I love how he quickly syncopates these lyrics in the verses very tightly with the music. Powerslave, the title track, presents this band's music on a very heavy edge. The vocals were big and the chorus was just intense, and the instrumentation is pretty much the same way. The closing track, the 13-minute epic on this album, as much as the epic on 2 Minutes to Midnight, this is Rime of the Ancient Mariner. This was inspired heavily on the poem of the same name by Samuel Taylor Coleridge, and it is a great closing track from start to finish, with its progression and various unique changes on making the sound big, on exploring on what the song has in store from the band to deliver this track highly as perfect like the other tracks. The poetry develops itself very massively, and it changes the song over time in different spots into a clever but dark composition. This was the longest track that Maiden had done until the Book of Souls' closing track from that album, Empire of the Clouds, in 2015. So, I absolutely do cite Powerslave as pretty much the first classic Iron Maiden album. I did praise the first album and The Number of the Beast as near perfect albums. Really liked Killers and Peace of Mind very much as well, but when it comes to the experience and the vibe on myself listening to Iron Maiden's albums entirely, Powerslave had been one of the ones that I had gone back to for a lot of reasons. As I greatly described this album in my own personal preference, I would recommend this album very, very highly. This goes along with the other essential heavy metal albums in this way, like Black Sabbath's Paranoid to Judas Priest with Painkiller, etc. Powerslave is the cream of the crop album that stands out from start to finish. There's nothing bad that I would say about this record, and with all of these acclaiming words that I've said for this review, I'm going to give Powerslave by Iron Maiden a 10 out of 10. One of my favourite metal albums, and I stand by it as a stronger record than the other ones that were out previously. Let me know what you think of Powerslave in the comments below. And that does it for my review on this album, and I will be back to do some more reviews in the Iron Maiden discography, as I've got many different reviews to come very, very soon. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll keep you guys posted for more videos in the near future.